friend asked for my opinion on something that happened to her. Well, a couple things that happened to her. She's been having a pretty rough time the past couple years, in and out of several abusive situations, and people in her life would try to moralize those situations by saying, well, maybe God is calling you to minister to those people. The first thing that made me think of was another friend who was in a bit of a Bible cult. Now, I think some congregations in this denomination are not cults. However, I think the particular congregation he was a part of was one. And the longer he spent with these people, the wearier he became. They would shut down his honest questions when he was spiritually seeking. The elders seemed to have a very big lack of humility. He witnessed, I would say, mild child abuse. That's what I would call it. And I kept telling him, like, leave this church. These people aren't helping you grow. They're shutting you down. They're making you feel frustrated. They're making you depressed. They're making you want to give up. Leave this church. And he would keep saying, no, I think God wants me to minister to these people. And at the time I thought, well, he knows better than I do what God's leading him to do, so I didn't fight him on it. I just got down on my knees and begged God, like, please keep this guy's faith alive. So he stayed in this toxic environment, surrounded by very hateful people. And as time went on, and as time went on, and as time went on, it finally eroded away any life that he felt his faith had. Even just from an intellectual standpoint, because he's a very intelligent guy who likes to teach himself other languages. And one of those languages is Hebrew. And even though he loves language, even from that perspective, he could not enjoy reading the Bible. He got nothing out of it. It was just dry for him. And he left the faith. Pretty much renounced everything. We're still friends. I think he's an amazing person. But I think he fell for a trap. And that's the trap that these people are setting for my other friend by saying, maybe God wants you to minister to those people. Now, I agree that ministry involves self-sacrifice, but you should be able to go down the list of common traits of abusive relationships and determine whether or not you're in them. God is not going to call you to glorify a loveless relationship. God wants a vibrant, sincere, open relationship where there's humility on both sides. And complete honesty and trust where you can feel safe with that complete honesty. If you're in a relationship where your feelings are constantly shut down and invalidated, where you don't feel safe, where you're made to feel isolated and dependent and trapped, then that's not a God-honoring relationship. God is love. And by that I mean a healthy kind of love. So we need to be careful. We need to define our terms. We need to define what a good ministry looks like. Because, my parents ran themselves into the ground for decades, saying yes to everything. In some cases, getting very little help, getting very little sleep, having very few friends, having very little privacy, having very little to call their own. And it drained them. And eventually there was nothing left. I think even the Christians who are in prison, who are being beaten every day and told to renounce their faith, while they are honoring God, I don't think God would ask them to stay if He opened those gates and gave them a way out. I don't think God wants them to stay there. There's only so much a human being can take. So we need to know the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. We need to know the difference between loving someone and sucking them dry, loving someone and using them. These are all things that take a very long time to learn if you've come from an abusive background, if your whole family has come from an abusive background and it's a generational cycle. It takes a long time to learn what healthy relationships look like. Thankfully, there are many Christian and many secular resources to help you with that. I would look into J.S. Park. He has a psychology degree and a theology degree. He is very honest and open, and he's just a very genuine person. And he's really good at cutting to the heart of something, cutting through the bullcrap to the heart of what people are really talking about. Focus on the Family always does pieces on dealing with someone in the family who has depression or dealing with your own depression, what healthy self-image looks like. You Google stuff like that, and sometimes Focus on the Family is the first thing to appear. Even just look up, what is emotional abuse? What is physical abuse? What is neglect? What is verbal abuse? What makes a dysfunctional family? What makes a functional family? Leo Tolstoy said something really great in the beginning of Anna Karenina, which is a book everybody should read in my opinion. He said all unhappy families are unhappy in their own way. The happy families are all alike. And what I think that means, really, is that there's only one way to be healthy. And there are many, many ways that we can twist that and mess that up. To an extent, I think. All families, even the healthy, happy families, have a little bit of unhealthiness in there too. Because that's our human nature, that's sinful nature. And if the person in your life who's making you confused on this issue is telling you, don't look into it yourself, just listen to me, then they probably don't care about the truth. They probably just care about controlling you. And that right there is a major red flag.